A very good afternoon. Welcome to LFS on what is a massive day in the EFL calendar. The 2026 Championship Playoff Final. Two sides looking for a place in the Premier League next season. But who will grab that spot? Hull City and Middlesbrough have spent 9 years away from the top flight of English football, but that will all come to an end for one of them this afternoon. A Hull City side who no one expected to be here, even them at the start of the season. Everyone wrote them off. But they are here and are the underdogs, you feel, for this one. But Middlesbrough, they didn't think they would be here because they lost their semi-final to Southampton. But in quite unique circumstances, they find themselves at Wembley in the final due to Southampton breaching the rules and spying. And we've seen all the drama of Spygate over the last few days and week or so. But it all comes down to this. 90 minutes at least between these two sides, and one of them going to the Premier League. Both were relegated together in the 2016-17 season and haven't returned to the top flight since. That 9-year wait for one of these two clubs will come to an end this afternoon. The EFL chairman, Rick Parry, is shaking the hands of both sets of players, and two clubs that you kind of feel historically should be in the Premier League, should be competing at the top level, but only one of them will get the chance to after this one. A quick recap of the playoff semi-finals. As you can see, Hull City drew 0-0 with Millwall in the first leg, as did Middlesbrough with Southampton in the first leg. Hull won their away game away at the Den in the second leg, 2-0. And Southampton, albeit won after extra time, beating Middlesbrough by 2-1. But of course, Southampton Spygate, and they were expelled out of the Championship playoffs due to Spygate. They went to an appeal, and that was officially when it was confirmed on Tuesday night after the appeal was heard that they were kept as expelled, and Middlesbrough would be coming to Wembley and a chance to go to the Premier League once again. That's what we have to look forward to this afternoon here at Wembley, and we cannot wait to bring it all to you. As the national anthem is sung out around Wembley Stadium, we await to see what comes between these two clubs, stacked in history, especially in the top flight. But which one of them will return, and which one will have to go and face the Championship next season? Middlesbrough thought this time last week that their chances were done and dusted, that they were heading back to the Championship to have another go at it, but given a second wind, of course Southampton being expelled from the playoffs, and now it is all down to this. One game, one beautifully sunny afternoon under the Wembley arch, to see who can claim the trophy and claim a return to top flight football. Let's have a look at the two teams for this one, starting with Hull City, who knew they were going to be here after their win over Millwall at the Den a few weeks ago. Well, Ivor Pander starts in goal. Both sides have gone for a back three this afternoon. We start with the wing-backs of Louis Coyle and Ryan Giles for Hull. A back three of Semi Ajayi, John Egan and Hughes as well. In midfield, Crooks along with Slater, and a front three of Mohamed Baloumi, Liam Miller and Ollie McBurney up front. On the bench for Hull, Phillips, Drame, McNair, Lundstrom, Dahl, Gelhardt, Hadzimetovic, Hirakawa and Kumas. Well, for Middlesbrough and these players, it would be a bit of a shock to be here, but Kim Hellberg, I'm sure, delighted that his side get a chance to show, quite fairly, what they're made of. Solbrand starts in goal, a back 3/back 5, Britton, Ealing, Fry, Malanda and Target. Alan Brown comes in, of course, alongside Morris. Morgan Whittaker and Riley McGree are the attackers, with David Strelic leading the Middlesbrough line. On the bench, for Borough, Wildsmith, Edmondson, Hackney, Gilbert, Hansen, Castledine, Silvera, Sarmiento and Eva. No Tommy Conway, which will be a blow for them, but they have got quality and depth, Middlesbrough, if they are to show it. And we will see if they can show it. We had late drama in last season's playoff final. Well, we have drama in this season's playoff final. Kick-off at Wembley, under the arch. is next. A very good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us for this one from Wembley Stadium as Hull City take on Middlesbrough for a place in the Premier League. And as I said, these two sides in a unique position. Both left the Premier League together, and now they meet 9 years later, where only one of them can return to the top flight. What a day. It is a glorious Wembley afternoon. An absolute glory day. And perfect for a playoff final. Perfect day for football. And we couldn't have asked for any better of a situation. It's been a dramatic week for both clubs. But now it is time to show what you're made of. And really set in stone why you should be a top flight club once again. And this is all what it has come down to. 48 games in the making. And the key, a most special 49th one, could be the one that decides where you are, and will be deciding whether you will be top division or second division when it comes to August time. And that's what we so look forward to. I mean, this day is a glorious day in the football calendar, in the EFL calendar, but also around the country, because this is a day that even the Premier League clubs look on, watch on and think, who are we going to face next season? Where will we go in next season? And it's a day, they call it the richest game in football. Well, let's hope for a rich game of football with two very exciting football clubs that play slightly different ways. But I mean, that's what we love about the game. There's no right way or wrong way to play it. But there is a winning way. And there's only one side who can be on that end. Our referee this afternoon, Jared Gillett. And of course VAR in action as well. So it is the Tigers in orange and black, and Middlesbrough in their home strip of all red. And it will be Borough who will get us underway at Wembley for the 2026 Championship Playoff Final. And we're underway. Very good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us for this one this afternoon. It's great to have your company for this one at Wembley. Again, a huge game. And a game that really is, it's probably the most built up to Championship Playoff Final in a long time, because of how dramatic the last week or so has been, and the chaos that has kind of ensued after the whole Spygate situation. And we saw, of course, a similar situation to Spygate a number of years ago when Leeds were deemingly spied on Derby and their training. Of course, Leeds were fined and that, and they actually went out in the playoffs, so it didn't really matter in the end. Here is Morgan Whittaker. First involvement here for Middlesbrough. Little 1-2. Already off to a flyer as Whittaker tried to curl it in. They scramble it away. Semi Ajayi with the clearance. It'll be interesting to see how both sides kind of combat each other, in the fact that Hull are more of a side who are a bit more counter-attacking, a bit more on the break, a bit more in transition. Middlesbrough more dominate the ball, control the game, and try and suffocate the opponent. So it's a very intriguing a very intriguing battle, in the fact that how both sides will fare against each other in that tussle. And it's kind of what we want. A tussle to the very best. And as you would expect, Middlesbrough with the early possession. Had all the possession so far to this point. Down the left-hand side. That was nicely done by Targets. Strelic was trying to defend that situation, or trying to attack the situation, but well closed out by the Hull defenders. Target again, lays it down the left-hand side, swung in early by McGree. And that one is caught by Pandur. Already Middlesbrough showing their attacking prowess right from the off. And that attacking quality from the wide areas. It's interesting that both sides have matched each other up in terms of initial formation of a 3-1-4-2. 3-1-4-2? A 3-4-1-2? 3-4-2-1. I'm baffling, yeah. A 3-4-2-1. Basically, a back five and then a 2-2 and a 1. More or less out of possession. But using the wing backs to provide the extra width along with the wingers. Creating that extra kind of an overload in the wide areas. But they've matched each other up, which is very intriguing. Long ball over the top, looking for the run of Strelec here, who's just straight offside. Or actually, it was Morgan Whittaker who made the run, but nonetheless, offside. Hull no strangers to playing offside. That was an early one there. And flag up by the officials. Well, of course, you really have to go in depth about the Spygate situation. You know, a lot of people, of course, you got to feel sorry for the Southampton fans, and I kind of made that point when it was announced that Southampton will be expelled. It would be disappointing for their fans, but as I said before, they shouldn't blame the EFL or blame the guys who brought these charges. You should put the blame at the door of those who decided that it was a good idea to spy, even though you knew it was against the rules, and to try and breach the rules and cheat, essentially. That's where the blame should be put, and I think it's completely correct. I think some people say it's harsh that they've also been given a point deduction for next season, but you've got to stamp this. You can't allow this to be, you can't be lenient on this sort of thing. The rules make it very, very clear. As Hull with their first attacking opportunity. Nicely worked there down the left. Early ball in by Ryan Giles there. Wasn't a bad effort, but straight into the hands of the Middlesbrough goalkeeper, Solomon Bryn. Brown across to Morris. Targets. Fired towards the run of McGree, but that's cut out by Hull. Will be a Middlesbrough throw. First 5 minutes, Middlesbrough with a lot of the early possession. One decent opportunity, a half chance, but nothing clean cut to this point. Nice take down the right here by Callum Britton. Liam Miller on the scene, but Britton goes backwards to Dale Fry. Now Luke Ealing was inside him. Here is Luke Ealing. Targets. Fires the ball. Being very direct with the ball here early doors, Middlesbrough. Which is very intriguing in the fact that Matt Targett off that left-hand side, he cut inside there and just played that direct ball towards the attackers, being a bit more forceful with it through the lines. You know, something I kind of pointed out when I watched Middlesbrough a couple of times this season. I think they've been a bit too ponderous, a bit too nice, if you kind of make that point. And it's at the point of the season you can't be nice anymore. You have to take your chances. You have to be ruthless. And I think being a little bit more aggressive, a bit more direct from playing those balls forward will create that extra little bit of aggression, and a little bit more kind of tempo in the attacking areas, and give them that much more threat when they do break forward. Target under a bit of pressure there, has to get rid down the left. Header there from Semi Ajayi, straight out of play for a Middlesbrough throw. Well, Hull are looking to reach the Premier League for the first time since 2016-17. As I said, they've both won. Both of their Championship playoff finals. They've previously played, beating Bristol City in 2008 and Sheffield Wednesday in 2016. Can they make it a hat-trick of playoff final victories? We will find out this afternoon. If you are of a Scottish persuasion, a Celtic persuasion this afternoon, of course we followed the final day of the Scottish Premiership last weekend when Celtic, of course, went on to win the title on the final day with that dramatic ending against Hearts at Celtic Park. Well, the Scottish Cup final is this afternoon. Celtic taking on Dunfermline Athletic, and already after 36 minutes it's Celtic 2, Dunfermline Athletic 0. Dyson Maida with the first goal, and Arne Engels has just put in the second. So it is Celtic who lead by 2-0 at Hampden Park. Here's Matt Targett to, I think that was across the midfield. Fry through the middle. Morris. No way. Down that right hand side on that occasion for Aidan Morris. Straight to the play. Well, one thing that they've done pretty well so far, Hull, is been able to limit Middlesbrough through the middle of the pitch. Been very combative in the middle so far and not allowed them to play through themselves yet. Hull have been quite rigid to this point. Strong headers there by Crooks. Nice layoff. Wide it goes to Liam Miller. Miller trying to find Palumi, but that's well cut out by Dale Fry. Yeah, it was really good football. It was Ollie McBurney, just laid it out wide to Liam Miller, who's got bursting pace down the left. He took the early cross option, just didn't have enough to get to Mo Balumi on the far side, but nice idea. And that's where I kind of made the point. Hull will be a little bit more counter-attacking, a little bit more on the break and in transition, and try and catch Middlesbrough in those moments. We've seen them, they can be vulnerable in those moments, Middlesbrough, so it's kind of what they have to be wary of today, but Hull will be dangerous. No question about that. Long ball over the top by Luke Ayling, but that one will sail its way through and go out the other end for a goal kick. Well, Middlesbrough are also looking to reach the Premier League for the first time since 2016-17. This is their third appearance in the second tier playoff final. They beat Chelsea over two legs in 87-88 and lost to Norwich in 2014-15 in the playoffs. But it would be one hell of a story if Middlesbrough were to be promoted to the Premier League this afternoon, considering they were... I mean, it would be a great quiz question in years to come. Who is the only team to lose their semi-final and still win the playoff final and be promoted to the Premier League? It would be a hell of a quiz question. Here's Riley McGree picking it up in the midfield. He's got Target in the wide area. Lots of black and orange shirts in his way as he does hand it back to Aidan Morris. There's a player down at the moment. It looks like it's... I'm trying to see who it is. Might be Alan Brown, you know, who stayed down here for Middlesbrough. See it again. Yeah, Brown just trying to hold off, and I think it was Crooks that just came in. They're both challenging for the ball. It's just kind of an unfortunate moment, but it's a little bit late, Matt Crooks, but yeah, both genuinely going for the ball. He is late. No question about any sort of cards. And Jared Gillett, the experienced referee, making that call of just allowing Alan Brown to receive some treatments. Get some shots of Hayden Hackney, who's warming up. Of course, a number of the players warming up, so there's nothing too obscure about that or out of place. Now Alan Brown back to his feet. And he will be, of course, ushered off to the sidelines. Excuse me, before he can re-enter play. There's a man who wishes he could be on the pitch for Middlesbrough, Tommy Conway. who's got the injury in the semi-final second leg against Southampton, and fortunately missing this game. But at that point he didn't think that he would be missing this game, because they didn't think they would be in this game after that semi-final. But what a roller coaster, I have to say, an incredible roller coaster of a week or so. I mean, it wouldn't have been nice for any of the teams involved. I mean, Hull didn't know who they were going to face. Would it be Southampton or Middlesbrough? Southampton didn't know whether they would be there or not, with the charges hanging over them. And then Middlesbrough didn't know whether Southampton were going to be expelled or taken out, or they would replay it. They didn't know what would happen, so they were in limbo as well. So certainly for no one involved, it was nice. But watching it from the outside, it certainly is an entertaining watch. Certainly you could see a Netflix documentary being made about it. Certainly. It was bizarre. As I said, it would be a hell of a story if Middlesbrough were to then progress and go on to be a Premier League team and win this game, after really, sporting-wise, they wouldn't be in this position without the breach of the rules from Southampton. Ollie McBurney, the second most dangerous player this season, behind Zamvi Potnik. The second most goals and assist ratio. 24 goal involvements this season for Ollie McBurney. That's lovely play between the lines from Middlesbrough as the cross came from Whittaker. Blocked on the near side. It will be a throw into Middlesbrough. Yeah, really good build-up play. We've seen them play that zigzag football in between the lines before, and it was really nicely worked. Whittaker inside to Brown, now targets Whittaker, linking everything up at the minute. Morris, Whittaker rolls it in behind his man, but that's scrambled away by Hull. They're coming under ever more pressure. Fry run into trouble, but Morris in recovery able to retrieve. It's all Middlesbrough at the moment. Hull on the back foot, really. Strelic just holding on to it. Here's Morris. He's going to hit one from range. Just kind of rolled it wayward a goal. Wanted a deflection, made Morris, but yeah, it just looked like a bit of a miscued effort, really. Just didn't have the power behind it. Just kind of rolled its way across goal and out the other end for a goal kick. See from this angle whether there was a deflection. Not really. Not that I could really tell there, to be honest. Purple Assassin says, hello mate, pleased to be tuned in to you for this. If either of these sides go up, who should they be looking to bolster their squad around for the Prem? Well, I mean, Middlesbrough, if they go up, hold on a second. Here come Middlesbrough again. They're really on the front foot now. Strelic does well. McGree lays it wide to Target. Target calling for handball, but they're still playing on, and Strelic tried the cross, blocked and cleared away. Coyle trying to scramble it clear, but Target wins the throw-in. It's all Middlesbrough. Hull are hanging on at the minute. Target plays it back to Aidan Morris. Squares across. Malanda plays it out wide to Target. Low cross this time. Cleared away by Hull and scrambled away by Louis Coyle. It is one-way traffic at Wembley. It's all Borough. And the Tigers are being ravaged at the minute. Well, that's a lovely breakaway chance for Hull, but that one escapes Mo Balumi and out for the throw-in. Well, I think both sides have good squads. I think Hull, in my opinion, would need more upgrading if they were to go to the Premier League. In terms of, I mean, both sides would need massive, massive investment when they go to the Prem. I think they would need a Leeds type of investment. And I think Leeds or Sunderland, whenever these two sides go up, they need to look at the way Leeds and Sunderland did it and try and replicate that. And try and find players of a similar ilk, or mix the experience with youthful quality that are able to play at the level. That's where they find the difference. But also, be smart. Have a manager that's willing to adapt. And I think both managers, would be willing to adapt to the Premier League. Here come Middlesbrough again. That's nicely won for a corner. off Ryan Giles. That will be a Middlesbrough corner. Yeah, it was Callum Britton that won the corner off the opposite wing back in Ryan Giles. And Burrow with the set piece. Well, interestingly, both sides attacking their home fans in the first half, which is unusual because usually it goes the opposite way. They would attack the end of which their fans are in the second half, more usually, but whoever won the coin toss decided to change that for today. Corner then, target to take. Left-footed delivery, headed to the back post by a Hull player, drops for Luke Ayling, cuts it back to McGree, plays it into space, Brown across the header, over the crossbar by David Strelic. Really good football from Middlesbrough again, good delivery by Matt Targett, but then I think it's Crooks' header at the front post that just keeps it alive for Middlesbrough. Ayling does really well, lays it off to Riley McGree. McGree through the lines, finds the run of Alan Brown, who on the turn whips in a lovely ball with the left foot, clips it across goal, and Strelic just doesn't direct it down. He kind of hits it with the top of his head and ultimately sees it go over the crossbar. But really good play for Middlesbrough on that occasion. My hair's sticking up there. Well, if they are to make a difference today, Middlesbrough, they're going to need to rely on David Strelic, who didn't score in either of the playoff games, but scored in three of his last 4 league games for Middlesbrough, including the final day. And certainly only scored 8 championship goals this season. Can he pull up and come up with a big one this afternoon? Well, interestingly, this is also a playoff final that is being played between 5th and 6th place. Of course, 3rd place Millwall and 4th place Southampton were both ultimately eliminated from the competition and the playoffs in their unique ways. And, you know, it's an interesting setup that it's 5th and 6th, and we've seen before 3rd place has been absolutely, 3rd place usually is the place you don't want to finish in the championship because they never go on to win the championship playoff final. 6th place always seemingly do well, but it's usually 4th that have the most success. But it's 5th and 6th that are playing this one, and it is the team that really only found out just 4 days ago they would be in this final. And are the ones the dominant force to this point. All the shots, almost 80% possession for Middlesbrough in the first 20 minutes. So a real struggle for Hull to, even if they do get the ball, to really do anything with it. They've really struggled to get anywhere near the Middlesbrough defence to this point. It's been all Middlesbrough in this game, early doors. McBurney battled with Dale Fry, and Fry came up with the header, but straight out for a Hull City throw on the far side. And they need a little bit of guidance, those Hull City players. Hull side who have resilience of their own. Remember, they were going into the final day without a playoff spot. They started 7th on the final day, and they had Wrexham to battle. And Wrexham, of course, played Middlesbrough on that final day, so they possibly could. The argument could be Hull have to thank Middlesbrough, essentially, for them being here, because if Middlesbrough had have lost to Wrexham, Wrexham would have taken Hull's spot on the final day. Because Hull then wouldn't have been able to get into the playoff final if Wrexham had won. Wrexham drew, and Hull won their game. Here's Malanda. Right to the right. Britton firing one forward. It's an opportunity for Strelic, who forced the long clearance out of John Egan in the box. Yeah, really dangerous ball by Callum Britton. Good run in behind by David Strelic. The Hull defenders were certainly unnerved by that moment. Here's Malanda. Morris Well, Kim Hellberg, I'm sure, will be pretty pleased with how his side have played to this point in the first quarter of the game. Trying the direct ball through the middle a little bit too greedy there, ultimately. And now here's Mo Balumi for his first involvement of the afternoon. Great switch ball. Miller. A little bit of a heavy touch was allows Ealing to get in the mix, but picked up by Giles. Miller. And back it goes for Hull City to recycle. Miller. Firing it down the line. Looking for Giles' run. Giles has got the better out of Callum Britton. Back to Liam Miller. Better from Hull all of a sudden. Miller lifts one across. Back post, the header. Forced over the crossbar by Bryn. It was Louis Coyle at the back post. And Hull's first real attack of the afternoon. Turns into a great chance. It was a fabulous ball by Liam Miller. Clipped back across. Louis Coyle at the back post. It's a deft little looping header. And it puts Sol Bryn in a difficult position because he doesn't know whether it will drop under the crossbar or not. And he tries to he does force it over the top for the corner. But the first real dangerous moment from Hull of the afternoon. Balumi goes short with the corner. Right to the edge of the box. Gives it back. Balumi again. Tries to work the angle. Egan from range. Wayward. And goal kick is given. Well, Sergei Yakirovich will be a little bit, I don't want to say angry, but a bit frustrated with how his side have started. But it is going to be hydration time. And both sides taking on some liquids. Of course, this is something we'll see in a few weeks in the World Cup, of course. Hydration breaks because of the heat over in North America, across the US and Mexico. I wouldn't expect it to be this type of heat in Canada during this time of the year, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. And this also is an opportunity for both managers to try and offer some guidance to their players. It's a massively hot afternoon, 28 degrees at Wembley this afternoon, so a scorching day under the May sun. And it's been a scorching hot start from Middlesbrough. 25 minutes gone, remains goalless, but Middlesbrough have had all the threats so far, but they haven't had a shot on target, which is one thing that I would kind of have to point out, in the fact that overall that will frustrate them, in the fact that they've had all this possession, and we kind of made that point a little bit before. I think I made that point on the final day when I talked about Middlesbrough and how when they dominate possession they can be a little bit toothless in the final third, and they can lack that clinical edge, that extra little exuberance in the attacking areas, to break the opponent down and to really test the opposition goalkeeper. You can't say that Ivor Pander has been put into any difficult position so far by Middlesbrough. It's been a lot of nice build-up play, but in these types of games, it's a lot about getting the job done, finding a way. And I think that's where I will hark back to last year, if you remember, in last year's playoff final, last season between Sunderland and Sheffield United, and we kind of made the point, Sheffield United are the favourites. Everybody expects Sheffield United to go into that game and to dominate and to be in control of it. But in the end, Sunderland came up with the points, Sunderland came up with the moments, and they got the goals. And they needed that magic to do it. They didn't dominate the game. And I think that is also something that Middlesbrough need to be wary of, is the fact that they are up against the side who are used to having less possession, who are used to being under the pressure a little bit more, and are used to hitting teams on the break. And if they play into that, they might just be kind of laying down their own deathbed, in a sense of they might be writing their own will on this game and kind of playing into the hands of Hull. And we've seen in one or two little glimpses, certainly in the last couple of minutes, where Hull have looked a little bit more dangerous. But of course, long way to go. And in the grand scheme of things, both sides have lacked that ultimate cutting edge to this point. It's been a lot of possession without much end product. But long way to go. And we are here to a finish. Remember, extra time and penalties if necessary to decide a winner. We were heading to penalties heading to extra time last season before that late winner from Sunderland. Southampton had a late winner. The last time we went to penalties, or the full distance in the playoff final, was in 2023 when Luton played Coventry. They drew 1-1 after 120 minutes, and of course Luton went up via penalties. That's the only playoff final in the last 8 that have went to penalties. Only one other has actually gone past 90 minutes. 6 of the last 8 have gone and finished in 90 minutes. So, who knows? But I think on the day, these two can be very well matched. And that's kind of where the point comes. That they have such opposing ways of playing that they can just cancel each other out. And that's kind of what we don't want at the same time, but we want a tight game. And both sides did win their games against each other in terms of their away games this season. Hull won at the Riverside back in December, won by a goal to nil, and Middlesbrough won 4-1 at the MKM Stadium in early December. So both sides won away from home against each other this campaign. Just short of 30 minutes gone here at Wembley. It's Hull City 0, Middlesbrough 0. Middlesbrough with the dominance of possession to this point, but Hull looking a little bit of a danger on the breakaway, but nothing clear-cut for either team to this point. Here's Liam Miller as Hull retrieve possession. McBurney on the turn. Space to break across to the right. Finding Louis Coyle. As Hull want to have a bit of the ball for the moment. So Jai plays it back to Ivor Pander. Well, there's one thing that Middlesbrough do need to focus on, is Hull do give up chances. Only Sheffield Wednesday recorded a higher expected goals against total than Hull this season in the regular campaign. 91.9 from Wednesday. 80.2 was their expected goals against tally this season for Hull. So they give up chances. They certainly do. They conceded 66 goals across the 46 games, which is the most of any side in the top 6. Yes, that's going to be a foul on Semi Ajayi by David Strelic. So they were certainly, when it comes to it, conceding a lot more goals than their opponents. They've actually, in terms of the normal season, they conceded 19 more goals than Middlesbrough across 46 games and scored just 2 less. Ended up with 7 less points than Middlesbrough on the season, but all that matters is they're here and they're trying to get the job done. Malanda. Ayling. Luke Ayling, who's been through all this before. All this promotion malarkey with Leeds United. Trying to do it again. This time with Middlesbrough. And I kind of make the point, you know, coming into this one, I have to be honest. Out of the 4 teams that reached the playoffs, there was one team I didn't want in the Premier League. And that's not because I dislike the club or I dislike anything about them. It was Southampton. And the main reason I didn't want them was because I want someone different. A Millwall or a Hull or a Middlesbrough. Someone we haven't seen in a while. Have a shot at it. And that's what I want to see. I want to see the Premier League rotating different teams all the time. Not the same old, same old. You know, we've already seen Norwich and West Brom and Southampton and Leicester and Sheffield United have their opportunities over the last 5-6 years. It's now time for a Hull or a Middlesbrough to have a go at it, and a Sunderland back in the top flight again. We've seen how well they've done this season. Let other teams have a go at it, and that's all I had in my head coming into this. If the final is of 2 teams that we haven't seen in a while, I don't care who wins. It would be nice to see someone different. And 2 clubs that I think, honestly, deserve Premier League football because of, you know, I think of growing up. And look, I mean, I'm 21, so I'm not old. But I remember growing up, and 10 years ago, you remember you would see a Middlesbrough or a Hull or a Huddersfield or those types of clubs in the Premier League. And here's Morgan Whittaker picking up in space for Middlesbrough. Well closed out. He still has the ball as he was brought down there, picked up by Morris. Now Brown. Whittaker stayed down for the moment. Referee just says play on. Middlesbrough do have possession still. Alan Brown. Last 10 minutes of the first half here at Wembley. Hull City 0, Middlesbrough 0. Morris to Brown. Out to the right hand side it goes for Britain. Inside to Aidan Morris. Trying to break down this Hull team. Very compact so far this afternoon. Britain. In between the lines. Overhit that ball a little bit as Morgan Whittaker tries to rescue it, but that will go out for the throw. To Hull. Well, I make the point they were a little bit. They need to be quicker there if they're going to break through. Hull, when they do get into shape, they can be strong, stubborn, compact, hard to break down. There's the Hull chairman. He's feeling the heat. Ties come off. There's no jacket. Shirt with the sleeves rolled up. He's comfortable up in the box at Wembley. Here's Luke Ayling. Lovely ball down the right. Good break of the lines, but as the ball came anywhere near the feet of Hughes, that's seen out of play for a throw. Now the Middlesbrough end of Wembley, the noisier at the moment. Trying to gee their side on from this long throw attempt. Actually goes short with it, backwards. Britain couldn't get the cross in, that was blocked out for another throw. Been very combative so far, Hull. Ayling's delivery, flicked on by Brown. Well off target. Nice idea from Luke Ayling and a decent effort from Alan Brown, but just not on target. Not anywhere near enough to test Ivor Pander in the Hull City goal. Well, the big question is, with Hull being a little bit more defensive, a little bit more standoffish in a sense, will they be a little bit more expressive? Will they be a little bit more expansive in the second half? Or will they stick to this plan and maybe, do they snatch it late on? Do they try and go for it? Do they try and hold on to penalties? It's a big question mark. And so far, yes, they've struggled, Hull, but they've been consistent in their play. They've been held to their game. and the way they want to play. So far, just hasn't gotten them much joy this afternoon to this point. Clip ball over the top by Ealing. Hooked away by Louis Coyle. A little flick on though, which will break here for Hull. And a run through for Liam Miller. Who can he be the keeper? He can't get there first, and that's thumped away. Well, that was better though from Hull City. Louis Coyle played that ball into the middle, and it was really nicely worked. They broke through. That's broken them apart. That's a lovely ball into Balumi, who I think might have just strayed offside. That was better from Hull City though. Yeah, we see it here. Great defending by Louis Coyle, but it actually bounces into a good area for Crooks to just work it towards McBurney, and McBurney lays it off to Balumi. Balumi plays a lovely ball through the lines, just a little bit ahead of Liam Miller, and Sol Bryn gets there ahead of him, but beautiful football from Hull. All it needed was the finish. In the end, the Middlesbrough goalkeeper was able to shut it out before they got the chance. Targets. Malanda. Right to the right-hand side it goes. Callum Britton. Luke Ealing. Into Malanda. To Whittaker. Targets. Nice work from Bryan and Whittaker. Bryan again. This game will, I kind of feel, come down to who scores first, who gets that big opportunity, who takes it early in this game. So far, with just over 5 minutes to go in the first half, only one shot on target. That was Hull. And Louis Coyle, whose header was, if you remember, forced over by Sol Bryn. Excuse me. Itchy nose. Apologies. Picked up here by Whittaker. He had it stolen away from by Crooks, but won back quickly. Target. Or sorry, McGree, apologies. Morris. Malanda. He goes early. Headed away confidently there by Hull, but a bit one-way traffic again. Middlesbrough on the aggressive front. And Hull sitting deeper. Luke Ealing has to reverse it backwards to Malanda. Nice work there from Aidan Morris, finding Riley McGree, who tries to lay it on, and Whittaker got his toe to it, but easy enough for Ivor Pander to stop in his tracks. Yeah, nice, really good play from Middlesbrough, but in the end, the ball to Morgan Whittaker. He just got a toe to it, just not enough power on it to really test the Hull keeper. Healing to Riley McGree, who's got space to break forward. Lays it off here. Strelic! Kind of hit, I think, Morgan Whittaker, really. Took the power off it. Saw it into Ivor Pander's path again. Again, much better from Middlesbrough. A bit more direct with it. Luke Ealing plays it into Riley McGree's path. He just drives forward with the ball. He squares it across to David Strelic, and then just hits Morgan Whittaker and rolls back to the Hull City goalkeeper. But one or two clean opportunities for Middlesbrough in the last few minutes and haven't been taken. Better though from Hull here. Down the left, Liam Miller. Got red shirts around him. Finds the ball back to Matt Crooks. Cross now it goes. Balumi. Onto his left. Will strike it! Oh! Just wide from Mo Balumi, but from range that looked like it was firing into the net. It's the camera angle that deceived us, but he did really well here. He sent the defender. Oh, just spun away from goal, but he's got it in his locker, Mohamed Balumi. And that one wasn't too far away. He's a danger. They have to be careful of it, Middlesbrough. Very careful. But he doesn't get his and take his opportunities today, and is given that opportunity from that sort of area. Some technical difficulties with the feed there, but here's Riley McGree. Picking up in the pocket of space, just in front of the defenders. Target with a late run. Struck it off the chest of Louis Coyle. Bellumi got a little caught in possession. Target. Now McGree. Trying to make advantage. McGree's ball. Good hand by Ever Pander. Take it away from the run of Alan Brown at the back post. Got a lot more tense and edgy in the last few minutes from both teams. Looking more dangerous. Miller hung on to it there at the sideline. The last touch came off a Middlesbrough man. That's going to be a throw. See this again. It's Riley McGree. Plays a nice clip ball round the back, and Ivor Pander measured it really well. Dive full stretch. Got a strong left hand to the ball that parried away from the path of Alan Brown, who made the run round the back. Good strong goalkeeping from the Hull City stopper. Here's Luke Ayling. McGree, a little bit caught in possession. Semi Ajayi higher up, finds Bellumi. He's evading challenges, keeping a hold of the ball for the moment. Fabulous from Mohamed Bellumi. McBurney got a little caught, but he turns it into Louis Coyle's path. Back to Semi Ajayi. Hull certainly looking more dangerous in the last couple of minutes. After what has been a pretty quiet first half, you've got to say, from the Tigers. But they're starting to growl under the Wembley arch. Here's Liam Miller. Wide it goes again to Giles. Miller hugging the touchline. He's got Britton for company. Has to cut it back. Giles for the first time crosses a dangerous one. McBurney off the crossbar. Well, that is a great chance. Ryan Giles, first time delivery. He's got it in his locker. Beautiful ball in. It just drops so sweetly onto the head of Ollie McBurney. He's in a tussle, remember. He's in a tussle with Malanda, and he crashes it off the crossbar. Good, strong. I think that might have been a deflection. That should be a corner, in my opinion. Malanda got the last touch off that, I think. Nonetheless, that's the biggest chance of the game so far. 3 added minutes at the end of the first half. No surprise that it's Ollie McBurney that's had the biggest chance of this first half. 17 championship goals this season. 24 goal involvements. I said only Zanvi Botnick with more goal involvements this campaign. He is the danger. And he almost delivered Hull an opener right on the verge of half-time. Luke Ayling. Dale Fry. Ayling. Long direct ball. Target made the run. That's a lovely cutback, but Ajayi got his foot in the way to clear it, and the game got very open. Here's McBurney in his own half. Nicely guides it back to Giles here. Miller. Just in his own half here, Liam Miller. Minute and a half to go with the first half here at Wembley Stadium. Hull City 0, Middlesbrough 0. Hull have come the closest to this point to opening the scoring. Ollie McBurney hitting the woodwork. Will we find a goal before the break? Hull have a throw in high up on the right hand side here. They're going to throw a couple of defenders up, John Egan included. It's going to be Mohamed Bellumi. He's going to take this throw, it looks like. Launched towards the front post, flicked on by McBurney. In by Slater, and that's too close to Saul Bryn. He's going to try and hit on the counter. Options up the field. Whittaker plays it on. Strelic comes away with the ball. He lets his man slip. Strelic! Just wide. Well, that's a great chance for Middlesbrough. What a fabulous end to this first half. Again, it's really strong from Saul Bryn, but it's a fabulous hold-up by Whittaker. Whittaker just about nicks it round the corner to David Strelitz, who lets his man try and beat him. He slips out of the way, the Hull defender, and it allows David Strelitz to get the shot off. And he just dragged it wide of the right post, but a good opportunity for Middlesbrough. Both sides looking dangerous. And that is the end of the first half. After what was a pretty low-key first 35 minutes, the last 10 of that first half certainly brought something to life for both teams. Had their best chances in the dying embers of the half, but those best chances didn't produce goals. A woodwork denying Ollie McBurney, and Strelitz just striking wide of the goal. Half-time in the 2026 Championship Playoff Final. It's Hull City 0, Middlesbrough 0. Sure, one last kick. This is gonna be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal! Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me! That is absolutely unbelievable! Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in, the header is in! By Virgil van Dijk! Incredible!
Remember, you don't get it twice. The time of your life.
Welcome back to the 2026 Championship Playoff Final here at Wembley Stadium. It is Hull City 0, Middlesbrough 0 at the break. That music's still going. There we go. It turned off now. So it's goalless at the break between Hull and Middlesbrough for a place in the Premier League, of course. And we will see what comes of the second half. It's on the way very shortly. But before all that, let's tell you what's coming up on LFS. There is a lot to look forward to in the next few days and weeks. Tomorrow it is one final game for all 20 teams in the Premier League, all kicking off at 4 o'clock tomorrow. You can watch it live here. The final day, Sunday, that is tomorrow, 3:45 will be building up for 4 o'clock kickoffs. Who will be in the Premier League next season? Will West Ham or will it be Spurs? Who will be in the Champions League? Could Bournemouth snatch a Champions League place at the death tomorrow? Results can happen for them, and Arsenal will get their hands on the Premier League title for the first time in 22 years. That's all tomorrow on LFS. Then next Saturday we conclude the club season with the 2026 Championship, the Champions League final from Budapest in Hungary. It is the reigning champions Paris Saint-Germain looking to go back-to-back in the competition. Take on an Arsenal side who've never won the Champions League and are in their first final since 2005. Can they end that wait and get back to that one? 2006 the last time Arsenal were in the Champions League final. 20 years. Can they lift their first title in the competition after and do a fantastic double? You'll find out next Saturday at 5 o'clock. And then once the club season's all over, we turn to the World Cup. 48 teams, all vying for world champion status, and we watch the co-host Mexico take on South Africa on Thursday the 11th of June to kick off the 2026 FIFA World Cup across North America. We cannot wait for that to get underway. But before all that, we have a massive second half to come at Wembley. It is Hull City against Middlesbrough. It's goalless at the break. A place in the Premier League awaits the winner. Second half's on the way next.
Remember, you don't get it twice. The time of your life.
Welcome back to the Championship Playoff Final live here on LFS this Saturday afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us in this bank holiday weekend, and it is delightful across the country. Of course, the weather has certainly shone upon us this weekend and will continue to do so across the bank holiday weekend. So a perfect weekend to end the EFL season and, of course, the Premier League season as well tomorrow. In Scotland, we told you about the Scottish Cup final being held at Hampden Park. Celtic taking on Dunfermline Athletic. They were 2-0 up. Celtic's now 3-0. Kelechi Iheanacho, of course the former Leicester player and Manchester City player, has added Celtic's third, and they are heading towards Scottish Cup victory, a League and Cup double for Celtic. And that has all come in the last 7 days. So it looks like Celtic are going to do it. And they are 3-0 up with around 15 minutes or so to go there at Hampden Park. But we are far from knowing who's going to win this Championship Playoff final. At the break, it's goalless between Hull and Middlesbrough. Both sides have had their chances in the first half, but neither have taken them to this point. So what have they got on offer for us in the second half? We are about to find out. And thank you all for joining us this afternoon. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on push notifications, because we have a busy summer on the way for you, including the World Cup that's just 19 days away, and we cannot wait to bring that to you in just over 2.5 weeks time. So do hit that like button and do subscribe as well. It's free, so why not? Thank you once again for joining us for this one. We're all but ready to go for the second half. Sergei Yakinovich, the Hull City boss, and Kim Hillberg, the Middlesbrough head coach. One will be a winner at Wembley, but who will it be? We have a second half to find out. Paul says, hardly an attacking game. Well, to this point, both sides have struggled in the final third, but these games certainly more often than not end up like this, where they are a little bit cagey at times. But I think the first goal will open it up massively. But it's about finding that opener for one of these two teams. We'll find out very shortly, I hope, seeing who will take the advantage. Almost a nervy moment there for Ivor Pander right from the off, as he was closed down quickly by David Strelic. Pander kicks long from the goal kick. Remember, no changes at the break for you to be told of. Both teams as you were from the first half, so we'll both be given a second shot at it, but I wouldn't be surprised if changes come quite early in the second half, based on what we saw in the first. If things don't change massively, I do suspect both sides to go to their benches pretty soon. And they've got options, both sides, certainly if they need them, off the bench. Here's Luke Ayling. The Middlesbrough side, who dominated possession in the first half, but with a few clear-cut chances. Whittaker! Shot was actually maybe taking the power off. I don't know if it was Strelic, but someone in the box, I think it might have been John Egan actually, that got the touch to block it. See this again. Nice ball, sliced up by Luke Ayling, headed back towards Morgan Whittaker, and as it bounces up for me, hit it sweetly, and John Egan with the block close it away, but it was a travelling effort from Morgan Whittaker. Corner it is, the Middlesbrough then, on the right hand side. Matt Targett to take this corner. Left-footed delivery, cleared away, back post though, back across, headed behind by Ollie McBurney. Well, Matt Targett's delivery, again, similar to the first half, where there was a dangerous chance from the corner that was flicked on by a Hull player at the near post. Twice in this game, that has happened. We have another corner. Matt Targett again over to take. Targett left-footed, round the back it goes, and the header this time is just over the crossbar by Dale Fry. Yeah, much better delivery this time by Matt Targett. Just swung it right to the back post, and Fry again got the better of his man. Rose the highest and wasn't able to direct it underneath the crossbar, just onto the roof of the net. Yeah, Slater gets absolutely done in at the back post, and Dale Fry, all the opportunity, couldn't find the finish. And the Middlesbrough skipper coming close. Ayling evading the early pressure, and then was cleaned out by Regan Slater, but a fair challenge by the Hull City midfielder. Throw in it will be on the far left side for Middlesbrough, as Luke Ayling struggles to get comfortably back to his feet without any pain, and Very experienced player. There's been another goal at Hampden Park, and it's a bit of calamity defending from Celtic. It is Celtic 3, Dunfermline Athletic 1. So the side that were 3 goals down have just reduced the deficit to 2. But it's a lot of work for them to do if they're going to find a way back into this Scottish Cup final. 3-1 to Celtic. It remains with just over 10 minutes to go there at Hampden Park. Callum Britton down the right flank. Held up there by Strelitz, but wanted a foul. Cleared away by Semi Ajayi. Bernie trying to battle, but Dale Fry got there ahead of him. A bit scrappy in the last minute or so. Both sides scrimping and scraping for the ball. Way back to Ivor Pander. It's long this time again, looking for Ollie McBurney, who gets a toe to it and finds it back to Ryan Giles. Wide to Liam Miller. Miller driving, travelling towards the box, cuts it back for Crooks. Squared it across. Giles going for the early delivery. It's deep. It's too deep, that one. And that's gone for a goal kick. Yeah, nice ball by... Nice idea from Ryan Giles. This one just kind of didn't have the spin on it, the curl on it. Just kind of quite deftly goes out for a goal kick, but not the delivery he usually produces. Hull win the throw in there out of Charlie Hughes playing that ball forward. Again, you kind of feel that, said it in the first half, I think this game will come down to who scores the first goal. I think really at this point both sides lacking that cutting edge in the final third. It might come down to one glorious chance, one opportunity, and whoever takes that chance might make the difference in the game. Ajayi plays it out wide, opportunity here. Balumi, overlap it comes, clipped across by Coyle. Crooks with a header, slightly off target, but as Liam Miller tries to keep it in play, ends up kicking it out for the goal kick instead. Yeah, nice work there. Semi Ajayi lays it wide to Balumi, waits for the overlap of Coyle. Coyle just clips the ball across, takes a deflection, and then Matt Crooks gets his head to it, but again just doesn't have that power on the head to take it towards goal, and just lacks that pace on the ball there, really, from the header to be really ultimately dangerous. Here's Alan Brown. Cross to the left-hand side. In the corner. Tried the early ball that time. Did target, but cut out. Hull able to fire it forward, but slightly ahead of Regan Slater, and that's seen it a play for a throw-in to Middlesbrough. Game in the balance at the moment here at Wembley. Not long gone of the second half, but both sides seemingly settled back into the positions and situ of the end of the first half, where it's a bit more open, a bit more end-to-end, a bit more aggressive from both teams, but still, final third is where it is lacked. Slater trying to hold off his man. Regan Slater just kind of come through like a train and then ends up holding off Alan Brown and trying to win the ball back, and that's going to be a foul. Yeah, if he wasn't holding Alan Brown there, I think Middlesbrough would have got it anyway, so free kick it is. Well, Hull have just won 2 of the last 8 meetings against Middlesbrough in all competitions. They did win the most recent meeting of the sides back in December. They won 1-0 at the Riverside Stadium. They've lost 5 of those other 6. And drawn 1. And certainly the team that, when they show up in the playoff final, they do well, is 5th place, which are Middlesbrough. The team finishing 5th in the Championship have won 3 of their last 4 appearances in the playoff final. Most recently, though, the most recent 5th place team was Coventry, who lost to Luton on penalties in 22-23. Bellumi trying to cause a bit of a nuisance down that side. Luke Ayling in his way, and Ayling goes over. Bellumi thought it was a little bit easily. The referee sees a foul, though. Free kick given to Middlesbrough. Well, we are looking to become the first team to finish 6th, Hull, and win promotion to the Premier League since Blackpool did it in 2009-10. As I said, they've won 3 of their 4 matches at Wembley, have the Tigers. The only one they've lost was the 2014 FA Cup final against Arsenal. Here's Morgan Whittaker. He's got Strelitz making the run. Strelitz takes it in his stride. Strelitz couldn't get the shot off, was well cut out in the end by the Hull City defence. I think it was Charlie Hughes that made the block in the end, but that was dangerous between Whittaker and Strelitz. Jai getting a little bit impatient. And nicely won back though by Semi Ajayi. And Mohamed Bellumi evading the challenges. He's got 2 there in orange. Tries to cross it early. McBurney was the target, but Fry got there first. Morris. Little over hits, and that's went out of play. Throw into Hull. The game has slightly swung in Hull City's favour in the last 5-10 minutes. Since the start of the second half, they've slightly taken a bit more of it than their opponents. And you kind of say this game's for the taking. It's 35 minutes for one of these 2 teams to put on a case to be a Premier League side next season. In just 3 months, they could be debuting once again at the Premier League with that flag flying high from the top of their stadium. And some of the big teams coming to town. Your Arsenals, your Man United, your Man Cities, your Liverpools, your Chelseas, your Spurses. I mean, Spurs might be in the Championship next season, who knows, but that's the illustrious nature of what this game has in store and on offer for one of these 2, if they can take their advantage and take their chances. Both sides won't argue with the fact they've been a little wasteful. Whittaker eased over there by Liam Miller. Wanted a foul there, Morgan Whittaker, but the referee let it go. Slater, Coyle, trying to break down the right here. Louis Coyle, he's got acres of space to run into. Goes for the switch. Finding Liam Miller. Chests it down, takes it onto his right foot. He's got Callum Britton for company. Liam Miller cuts it back to Crooks. Bellumi, little flick trying to find McBurney, but scramble clear by Middlesbrough. All Hull at the minute. It was all Middlesbrough in the first half before the final 10 minutes where Hull started to ignite themselves and come into the game. And now they're the team in the ascendancy, Hull City. But can they take the advantage of being the team more dangerous, looking more dangerous in attack? Long ball forward by Everpander. Burney too couldn't take down, and McGree was just stopped in his tracks there by Semi Ajayi. That's seen out of play. It will be a Hull City throw down the right side. Look at that for a Wembley record for Middlesbrough. 5 previous visits, 4 defeats, and 1 ended in a draw in 90 minutes. And they've only scored once on 5 previous trips to Wembley Stadium. Can they change that? Here's Callum Britton down the right hand side for Borough. Back to Aidan Morris. Work wide to Callum Britton again. Nice a little flick round the corner. Whittaker got a little bit loose as he tried to play it with a back heel. Taken away by Slater, and now Balumi plays a lovely ball towards Liam Miller. Great defending though by Luke Ayling, who slid in and won the ball. Fabulous from Ayling. Good game so far, a really good match. Really good battle. I'm enjoying it myself. Might be looking at the benches very shortly. Might be some movement. Callum Britton. Play it back to Luke Ayling. It looks like Joe Gelhardt is going to be the one to come on very soon. Here's Alan Brown. Reverses it. Whittaker trying to have a little flick. That's cut out as well by the Hull defence. Brown again anchoring the move. Fired into the path of McGree. Whittaker drops here for Strelitz. Blocked by Hughes. Picked up by Britton. Our mark hit at Wembley. Middlesbrough on the move as Britton couldn't find the cross. Blocked. Miller picks up the pieces. Skips inside his man. And then is hacked down by Callum Britton. But the referee says play on as Hull have possession. And they flick the ball round the corner. It's Balumi away down the right. He's got Malanda for company. Balumi onto his left. Going to go for goal. The deflection saw it head up into the hands of Sol Bryn. I have to say, I'm loving this all of a sudden. And credit to the referee. Let that one go and let the game run on a little bit. It's been enjoyable. But who will win it? Who will come up with the goods to find a winner? To find that goal, that moment that can change it all. That can turn it in their team's favour. That can make the difference. Both sides have players of quality to try it. Here's Liam Miller down the left hand side. Plays it back to Giles and then to Hughes. And to change the angle, work it inside to Semi Ajayi. He's breaking forward. Ajayi going for the early cross. Too much on that one. Well, we're going to put a poll in the chat and let us know what you think. Gelhardt gets some last minute instruction before he comes onto the pitch. Let us know what you think. The poll's in the chat. Who do you think wins? Hull or Middlesbrough? From here on out, let us know. Get your votes in on the chat. Who wins the 2026 Championship Playoff Final? So we're going to see the first change of the afternoon. Liam Miller is going to be coming off. And Joe Gelhardt's going to be coming on. It's a great swap to make. Strength. Off the bench to make the difference. Joe Gelhardt. Scored 15 championship goals this season. Can he come up with another one? He scored in the semi-final second leg against Millwall to get them to this stage. And he scored a penalty already against Middlesbrough this season, albeit in a 4-1 defeat. But he scored a penalty in the meeting between the two sides at the MKM Stadium back in December. And here comes Riley McGree for Middlesbrough. Plays it wide, Alan Brown. Bodies in the box, Brown trying to cross. Giles with a half block. Hooked away only as far as Morris. Britton. Brown. Going for the early cross this time. Too high for Strelitz and easy for Ivor Pander to carry on the end off. Keep those votes coming in. A couple of votes coming in. Keep those votes coming in. Anybody in the chat willing to get your voice heard? Let us know who you think will win this. Will it be Hull or will it be Middlesbrough? So far, it's Hull with the vast majority of the vote. Keep those votes coming in. We'll keep that poll open right the way through, as we can confirm Celtic have won the Scottish Cup. 3-1 winners against Dunfermline Athletic there at Hampden Park. So Martin O'Neill has gone to Celtic and delivered a league and cup double. But who will be able to lift the trophy at Wembley this afternoon? Still, with 25 minutes or so to go of normal time, we are no closer to finding a winner. Both sides are giving it a go here in the second half to push. Regan Slater flies it across. Sami Ajayi down the right side. Coyle's delivery away by Dale Fry. Got a strong head to that. Strelitz put Hughes in a difficult spot there, and that will be a Middlesbrough throw. .25 to go. Hull 0, Middlesbrough 0. As a roar from the Middlesbrough end, as a look at Hayden Hackney returning from warming up, and I think he is being called to come onto the pitch. It's a poor ball through the lines there from Middlesbrough, picked up by Louis Coyle. Ollie McBurney just out muscled there by Dale Fry. Nice play though. Target Brown, back to Morris. Morris wide to Britton. Ealing to Morris. Middlesbrough again controlling the ball. Not going very far with it at the moment. That's nice down the line though to Callum Britton, who's just about kept it in play. Blinds it to Morgan Whittaker, who's facing away from goal, and plays it back to Callum Britton. Morris. Sorry. Apologies about my itchy nose. It's got to be hay fever or something. It's not normal. Here's Dale Fry. Morris. No direct. Little flick by Riley McGree. He lays it out wide. It's Whittaker to chase down the right hand side. Here is Morgan Whittaker. Drifting inside into the box he comes. Whittaker onto his right foot. Blocked off by Ryan Giles. That will be a corner. Well, actually, the last touch might have come off Morgan Whittaker. That's going to be a goal kick rather than a corner. Let's see it again. Giles gets the block, but the last touch did come off the right foot of Morgan Whittaker. That is a goal kick. Hayden Hackney getting his last bits of information. And Charlotte says, does this match decide who gets promoted? It does. So the winner of this game will be a Premier League side next season. The other will head back to the Championship for another go at it next campaign. It looks like David Strelitz is going to be the one coming off here for Hayden Hackney. While we await that change, remember the hydration break for the moment. Reminder for you, don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on push notifications if you haven't done so already. That's great, it'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you all for giving us your views and your enjoyment this afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us, spending your Saturday afternoon watching the stream. It's great to have your company. Thank you very much indeed, and if you're enjoying it, do hit that like button. As I said in the first half, this little break for hydration just allows the managers just to get a little bit more tactical information to their players, offer up some more little insights, try and give them as best a benefit as they can, a best an advantage as they can, heading into the final 20 minutes here at Wembley Stadium. Hayden Hackney on to spark Middlesbrough into life in an attacking sense. A sea of red and white at one end of Wembley Stadium. Very excited for this. David Strelitz replaced and Hayden Hackney on in his place. Let's see if Hayden Hackney can make the difference. The hometown boy. Middlesbrough through and through. Can he come up with the moment here under the arch? Be a great story. Hackney, who's been out for the last 2 months or so with an injury. It's his first involvement since they played Bristol City back in March. He got an assist in that game, but he is such a dangerous player, and there's no better game for him to be playing and to be involved in than one which needs that type of player that can produce in the big moments. And Hayden Hackney got that in his locker. Riley McGree wide to Matt Targett. Now Hackney, Targett, McGree, Hackney. Good play from Middlesbrough down the left channel. Hayden Hackney holding up to the ball down the left and wins the throw in for Middlesbrough. All squared across around the edge of the box. That's hooked away by Crooks. Hooked by Crooks. I'm amusing myself now. Luke Ayling. On to Hayden Hackney, who's going to drive with the ball here. Down the left, Targett fires across. Poked away by the whole defence. They're given very little opportunity to win the ball back, and it's going to be a foul on Riley McGree. It's going to give Middlesbrough a free kick. Riley McGree stayed down. He was kind of dragged, and as he kind of hobbled his way to the ground. So whatever happened in that battle, it's hurt something there, Riley McGree. Another injury issue could be emerging here for Borough. Might be forced into another change here, Borough. Riley McGree does not look in a good way. Had his injury problems throughout the season. Now the Middlesbrough bench, the coaching staff try and figure out what do they do here. What change do they make if they need to make one? So far it looks like they might need to. A bit of an issue emerging here for Borough. He's taking on some liquids, Riley McGree, for the moment. We'll see how he fares, if he's able to return to his feet, but for the moment it doesn't look like it. And in the meantime, with Middlesbrough trying to figure out what they're going to do, Well, Hull have an idea what they're going to do. Looks like it's going to be Yu Hirakawa coming on in a moment for Hull City. So Sergei Yakirovich making another change here. Riley McGree, thankfully, back to his feet. Whether he'll be able to continue or not is another question, and I would kind of say no. And it is going to be the end of his day. So Riley McGree's coming off. And Sonjay Hansen is coming on. And he goes straight down the tunnel there, Riley McGree, which is never a good sign. And I think they're actually going to make a double change here. Our Hull, Yu Hirakawa and Cody Drame, I think they're coming on. So it looks like a double sub for the Tigers. We're going to see Yu Hirakawa replacing Ryan Giles. And the second Hull City sub is going to see Cody Drame. And he's going to replace Mohamed Baloumi, it looks like. So a double substitution for Hull City after they brought Joe Gelhardt on around about 10 minutes ago. Hirakawa and Drame also onto the fields. Quarter of an hour left of the 90 here at Wembley Stadium. Middlesbrough free kick launched into the box. Brown plays it across. Hackney trying to make the difference. Carries it to the back post. Ealing got his head to it, but too close in the end, ultimately for Ivor Pander, who can gather comfortably. Sends it launching forward. A little bit awkward there. Hirakawa trying to put the pressure on. Nicely dealt with, and Brown holding off the pressure. Brown seen her to play. That's going to be, though, a free kick, though, to Middlesbrough. Matt Crooks seemed to be a little bit too aggressive in his battling for the ball. Free kick, says the referee. Remember, extra time and penalties if this does end a draw in 90 minutes. Winner has to be found this afternoon. Kizjob says, you're doing World Cup streams? We are. World Cup 19 days away. Karen, you're all the way through to the live final in July. Hackney making the difference there. Hansen just hanging on to the ball. Plays a lovely reverse, but ahead of Callum Britton. And seen back by Louis Coyle to his goalkeeper. Hackney. Back to Morris. Here is Malanda. To Ealing. All those changes making the difference. Yeah, apologise about my nose. It's very itchy. I don't know why, but it's quite itchy today. I think it is the kind of, I don't know if it's hay fever or not, but it's annoying me. I have to tell you. Ealing into Hackney's path. Trying to link things up, but gives it away cheaply there. Ollie McBurney. Sami Ajayi a little loose. Nicely worked by Joe Gelhardt though, and a clip ball looking for the run of Sami Ajayi, who continued to break forward there, but ultimately seen away by Middlesbrough. Just over 10 minutes to go. Britton to Morris. Santa Hansen. Morris back to Hansen. Wide on the left for Middlesbrough. Excuse me. It's a lovely ball over the back. Here's Santa Jansen. Oh, good save by Ivar Pander. I think the flag was up for offside, but they were dangerous there, Middlesbrough behind. See it again, it's worked through the middle. Hansen just makes the run off the back of the whole defence. He is offside, but it's the closest we've come to goal in a while. And Santa Hansen, of course, a good save out of Ivar Pander. It's a fabulous save. He didn't know he was offside, but had to make the save, the whole keeper, and he did. Ivar Pander kicks this one long. Oh, Middlesbrough a little caught out in possession here. Coyle down the left hand side. Here's Yu Hirakawa. Back to Louis Coyle. Into the path of Charlie Hughes. Crooks. Coyle. Over the right footer. A bit of a deflection. It will bounce into the area. And the shot on the half turn is wide by Joe Gelhardt. Well, it bobbled around a little bit. It's Louis Coyle. He just delivers with the right foot. It took a deflection and it just bounces into the box, and Gelhardt gets away from that target. And on the half turn, spins towards goal with the effort. Great effort. And it just spun wide of the left post, but good opportunity from Joe Gelhardt. Decent effort. In that sort of range. That's good football. No way through there. On clearance. Oh, lovely little flick there by Aidan Morris. Finding Britton. Brown. This game is getting ever more tense as we edge closer to 90. Is there a late winner in this one? Whittaker. Wide to Britton. Back to Aidan Morris. Sharp, quick football from Middlesbrough. Can they find a way to break this Hull City side down? Whittaker to Morris. 7 minutes of normal time remain. Plus added time. If we're level after 90, extra time and penalties to decide the winner. Wide to Callum Britton it goes. Britton down the right. Tries to cut it across. It's blocked by two, but it's going to drop here. Aidan Morris with the curler. Cleared away by the first man in John Egan. But at McBurney, trying to make a nuisance of himself physically. He was clattered, but a bouncing ball in behind. Looks dangerous. Gelhardt lets it run. Yu Hirakawa's away here. Hirakawa was closed out by Aidan Morris. Fabulous recovery by Morris. Hirakawa was readying for the shot, but Morris got in the way. Made the stop. It's getting to that point. Nerves all around the stadium. All four corners of Wembley. But will one side be jumping for joy before the end of the 90? At the moment, vast majority of the poll in the chat, it's been a massive disparity in who the chat thinks is going to win. 79% of the chat saying that Hull City will win. Keep those votes coming in. We will have we'll close that poll in a few minutes' time, but a massive swathe of you saying that you expect Hull City to win this game. At the moment, remains goalless. Hull have had the only shot on target of the game. Middlesbrough with 11 shots but without a shot on target. And 70% possession, 20 touches in the opposition box. But Hull have come up with the only shot on target. But is there a goal to win it? Daniel says, where did Hull finish in the league? They finished 6th. If they were to win this game, they would be the first side in 16 years to be the team finishing 6th to win the playoff final. Blackpool were the last to do it in 2010. Just short of 5 minutes to go. It's Hull that now have possession. Semi Ajayi. Regan Slater. Cody Drame. Right here to Semi Ajayi. Not afraid to make those runs forward, Semi Ajayi from centre back. Oh, heavy touch by Ajayi though, but he makes up for it quickly with a sliding challenge. Nicely done. Crooks wide to Louis Coyle. Out to you, Hirakawa. Hirakawa on the overlap. Swung it back. Around the corner. It's over the head of everybody in the box, but McBurney committed. And Hackney did just enough to see him off. That's going to be a Middlesbrough throw. Charlotte says, really enjoyed your commentary this season. Looking forward to hearing your voice during the World Cup. Thank you for your work. Thank you very much, Charlotte. Greatly appreciated for the support. Really thank you very much. That means a lot. There's a stoppage in play for the moment. There will be a referee just having a chat with one or two players for the moment. Jack says, what is your score prediction and do you think it could go all the way to pens? Well, at this rate it very much could go all the way to penalties. Just something in this game, there's just something brewing in the last 10 minutes. You kind of feel that it's getting a little bit more edgy, a little bit more touchy. And you kind of feel, is there going to be a winning goal between one of these two? Alan Brown caught in possession, but he's helped out by the sheer number of bodies back as Ayling clears. Oh, a little bit nervy there, goodness. Charlie Hughes able to thump it up the field, but no one there in the end. There is extra time, yes, so extra time and penalties. Yeah, some nerves at both ends here of Wembley Stadium. You kind of feel that this is the point where you do get nervous. A goal at this point could win it and can lose it. Britton, nice ball into the path of Sanjay Hansen. Back it comes to Alan Brown, who's got the open space. He did have the shot, but fabulously closed out. Ultimately there, it was worth a hit from that sort of range, you got to say, but certainly not the desired effect. What do we think? Is there a winner? Let's hope so. I would love it to be. Neil says City win, injury time. Well, we had an injury time winner in the playoff final last year. Sunderland left it late to beat Sheffield United. The more added time drama in the playoff final at Wembley. Last minute of the 90. Louis Coyle a brick away, and I don't know what he was doing there, but he charged it straight out of play for a throw. Louis Coyle there. Right back it comes here to Middlesbrough. Down the right hand side comes Morgan Whittaker. Drifting into the box. Whittaker trying to curl one, and that one sliced well wide of the goal in the ends. Goal kick. Well, feeling the cramp, feeling all the issues of a long 49 game season. And really, this is, you got to feel, the best way to win it, but the most heartbreaking way to lose in the playoffs, in the final, after 49 games of committing everything you have to the season. To lose it at this stage would be a killer, but it happens every season. One team does lose out. And we will now close the poll as we surpass 90. And the poll from the chat overwhelmingly saying that Hull will win this. 69% to 31% in Hull City's favour, as there will be 8 added minutes. 8 minutes of the 90 left, of the game left, before extra time and penalties could ensue. Is there gonna be one moment? Callum Britton trying to measure one in behind. Hackney's made the run. Hayden Hackney onto his left foot. Lots of players in his way. Sonja Hansen back to Hackney. Wide to Britton. Cuts it back to Hayden Hackney, who squares it across. Whittaker trying to lay it up, but cleared away by Hull. Morris laid off by Hackney. Brown trying to thread it through, but closed and cleaned away by Semi Ajayi. Right back with Luke Ealing, as we will have a stoppage in play here, as there's a Hull player down on the edge of his own box. And it's Charlie Hughes who was down, and the referee Jared Gillett having to call the physios on to check up on Charlie Hughes here. Jay cleaning it away, and he absolutely thumped it at the head of Charlie Hughes. Unfortunate, but all in the aims of getting rid of the ball. Well, a baking hot day under the Wembley sun. Will one of these two teams be able to do it in added time? Or will they need 30 more minutes at least to try and separate them? Charlie Hughes still continues his treatment. He's just got back to his feet. There's still a good 5 minutes of added time to go. Well, it's the Hull fans and the Middlesbrough fans trying to be the loudest. Even that's a close battle. Referee will get us back underway with a drop ball to Middlesbrough. Aidan Morris. Hull down to 10 for the moment with Hughes off the field. Ealing tried the cross, blocked. Hull trying to work it forward. Good Joe Gelhardt making it better himself out of Malanda. Does hold it off and plays it well. Back to Cody Drame. Former Leeds players. Joe Gelhardt and Cody Drame. Gelhardt holding it up there. Regan Slater helping out. Ajayi Direct ball into the path of McBurney, who lays it off now to Coyle. Hull may be down to 10 for the moment, but they're playing nicely here. Here's Yu Hirakawa. Drifting into the box. Another cross in. Oh, the keeper slipped it. And it's gone in. It's Ollie McBurney. And Hull City have the first and what could be the winning goal in this championship playoff final. A slip, a miss. Sol Bryn looks to the ground in disbelief and delirium at one end of Wembley. Hull City with a magic moment in added time might have just snatched it. Ollie McBurney, who else? The man who roared the loudest in the biggest moments of Hull City's season. Disbelief at one end, delirium at the other. Anger from Sol Bryn at himself, who palmed it into the path of the most ruthless, most dangerous attacker in the 6-yard box, Ollie McBurney. He was the headline maker. He was the man that everybody was watching, the danger one for Hull. Well, Yu Hirakawa put in a ball earlier. He overhit it that time, but he pinpointed that perfect. And on another day, Sol Bryn would have caught that and it would have been cleaned up. But it was just a little bit too away from him. He kind of parried it into the path of the danger zone. And Ollie McBurney, reactions perfect. And he guided it into an empty net. Rips his shirt off his chest and looks to the Middlesbrough fans in taunting fashion and says, that's how you do it. Heartbreak for Middlesbrough. An absolute delirium, as I say, for the Hull City support, who are just minutes away now from being Premier League team again. Ollie McBurney with seemingly the magic moment at Wembley. Incredible, incredible again. He's going to get a yellow card, of course, for ripping his shirt off, but who cares? He won't. Jeremy Sarmiento's on for Middlesbrough, but all the turmoil of this week, all the twisting and turning, when it comes to it, of who was going to be here. Hull had that limbo. They didn't know who they were going to face. But it seemingly seems that it doesn't matter who. All that matters is they can get it done, and they're going to make late changes. John Lundstrom and Paddy McNair coming on to just solidify this, to get the job over the line, to make sure it is as solid as they have been defensively today. Regan Slater and Louis Coyle coming off. And this is going to send one end of Wembley into raptures. It's already been nuts. Ollie McBurney. What a story it is. What a story. A man who was out injured for the vast majority of the campaign. But you gotta say, he has been electric when involved. He got off to a cracking start to the season, but at the tail ends, he's the man that's created the magic. He got the 2 goals in the final day to get them to this position, and he is going to be the man, it seems, to carry them to the Premier League under the Wembley arch. 8 minutes are up, but of course there's been a lot of delay in added time, so there's still time left in this. If Middlesbrough want to make it a contest that will go to extra time, but Hull anywhere will do, and they win the throw in here down the left. The roar, the growl from the Tigers. The game still continues. Sol Bryn going over it and over it in his head. Heartbreak Heartbreak. Paddy McNair with a long throw down the line. McBurney with a flick on. Seen it a play by Middlesbrough, but it will be another Hull throw. They're trying to hurry them here, the Middlesbrough players. They are in no hurry. They will take all the time they possibly can. And it's within their grasp. It's within their clutches. Sol Bryn with the ball here to try and give Middlesbrough one last gasp hope. Launched forward by Bryn. Bouncing ball finds Hansen. Played it inside, Alan Brown. Back out wide it goes. Hansen. Aidan Morris. Flicked into the box. Headed away on the edge. Bouncing down, only McBurney trying to get in the mix. John Lindstrom in the mix too. Luke Ayling plays it to Britain. Time surely running away from Middlesbrough now. 100 minutes on the clock. Ayling launches into the area. Headed away by Cody Drama. And the flag was up anyway. Which is another cheer and roar from the Hull City end at Wembley. It's surely only a matter of time. It's surely only a matter of seconds now left before it is done and dusted. And here we go. A long kick by Ivor Pander. Bounces around in the Middlesbrough half. Another long launch. Only as far as Ajayi. Bundles his man over. It's going to be a Middlesbrough free kick. Is there one last chance maybe for Middlesbrough? The referee will let it run. He will let them have a go at it. Kim Hellberg trying to get everybody up. It's now or never. Sol Bryn's coming up. This is really it for Middlesbrough. Their season on the line. Free kick inside the centre circle. Fired towards the box. It's got a lot of range on it, but too much. And that goes sailing out for a goal kick. Well, this has been a glorious season for Hull City. And it might just have its glory ending. What a job Sergei Yakirovich has done. His first season in the Championship, and he has seemingly pulled off an unbelievable feat. A side that just stayed up by the skin of their teeth last season. One of the worst sides in the Championship last campaign. He has turned them into a machine. And as Pander kicks, we await the final whistle. It's still not arrived yet. 103rd minute of this game. I don't know if the referees forgot what sport he's playing, but they've played 5 minutes over the 8 added. That's all the changes. That's the goal as well added into the mix. But surely it's got to end sometime. Middlesbrough were given a second chance at it, but are they about to falter once again in the playoffs? Once again at Wembley? Well, everything they throw at Hull here, it's coming right back at them. And that really might just call to an end of it, because that's a terrible ball out of play. Hull will get the throw. Surely there's not much time left. Agonising it is for those Hull supporters. Jared Gillett doesn't want this to end. One last throw maybe. Many times have we said one last. Middlesbrough have it again here. Ayling to Sol Bryn. Still we play on. That's a poor ball though by Bryn. It's picked up here by Hull City. Here's Yu Hirakawa. Kirakawa cutback shots blocked by Ealing. Middlesbrough launching forward. Flicked on by Dale Fry, but into the hands of Ivar Pander, and surely now that's it. It is! Final whistle goes. Hull City are Premier League again. 9 years in waiting. They were relegated together, and it was only fitting they came together to see who would be going back to the top flight again. A side that stayed up by goal difference last season are heading to the Premier League this season. Ollie McBurney with the magic moment after Solbrun let it slip from his fingertips. Ollie McBurney produced the winning goal under the Wembley arch that has sent Hull City back to the top flight, back to the Premier League. Incredible. What a story. Playoff hat-trick for Hull. 3 playoff finals, 3 wins. Sergei Yakirovich, a hero at Hull, and he has delivered a return to top flight football for the first time in 9 years. They're back amongst the big boys, and they're playing at the top table of English football again. Middlesbrough were given 2 shots at it, and both they weren't able to come up with the goods. They played with all the possession, all the shots. But what did we say before? All that matters in these games is finding the winner, finding the goal, and finding the moment. Hull did that, and they are heading to the top flight. Middlesbrough, it's been a roller coaster of emotions this week. And on Tuesday night, when they found they were going to play at Wembley, you kind of felt maybe the tide had turned in their favour. Well, it's been a storm of a season, and Hull City, the Tigers, have roared their way through it and have ravaged their opponents. They needed the final day of the season to snatch playoffs, and now they're heading to the Premier League via the playoffs. The best way to win it, but the worst way to lose it. But one side of Wembley celebrates, the other sits in disbelief. Late drama at Wembley again in the playoff final. This time it's Hull City. This time it's Ollie McBurney. And this time it is ended quite magically. Once again, Hull are back in the Premier League for the first time since 2017. And they will join Coventry and Ipswich in being the 3 sides to be promoted from the Championship to the Premier League. Incredible. Incredible. I said you felt there was something brewing in the dying embers here at Wembley. You felt it. There was that tension, that anxiety that lurks. You knew there was something lurking in the shadows. And Ollie McBurney, with the moment, with the magic, to deliver the winner. Well, there it is. Hull City are back in the Premier League. It's been a wonderful afternoon. One moment that wins it at Wembley. And so many of these games have been decided by the odd goal. Well, it is the odd goal, and it's Ollie McBurney's odd goal that delivers it. Congratulations to Hull City. Commiserations to Middlesbrough. But in the end, Hull have the history. Both sides have the history. Hull have won in all of their previous playoff finals. Maybe it was destined. For Middlesbrough, they have never won at Wembley, and that record continues. 6 trips, 6 defeats, and Wembley is not a happy hunting ground for Borough. But for Hull, they're heading to the Prem, and Ollie McBurney with the moment to deliver it. Fantastic scenes. You have to say you love it. You love to see it. And congratulations to Hull City. They are Premier League once again. Well, there it is. We will confirm the scoreline for you. There is the final score. Hull City are Premier League. For the first time since 2017, they will be joining the top teams. And the top teams will be coming to the MKM Stadium to see what Sergei Yakirovic's side can offer up. It's a long summer until that opening Premier League game of the season in late August. But a summer of a lot of hard work to be done. But it is work that they will be very thankful they got the opportunity to do. Hull City are Premier League after being promoted via the playoffs, after they've won by a 0-0 against Middlesbrough at Wembley. Thanks for your company for this one. We'll see Hull in the autumn for the Premier League season starting. And we can confirm for you that this season in the Premier League will come to a conclusion tomorrow. We will be live from 3:45 to see all the last day drama in the Premier League. Sunday 3:45 kickoffs from all 10 games at 4 o'clock. Then next Saturday we are in Budapest as PSG and Arsenal face off in the 2026 Champions League final at the Puskás Arena, Saturday at 5 o'clock. And then as the club season comes to an end, we head to the the continent of North America, to see Mexico, USA and Canada host the World Cup. And it's Mexico, the co-host, that get us underway on Thursday the 11th of June against South Africa in Group A. But Hull are Premier League once again. After 9 long years, they are back amongst England's top table, and they are back in the Premier League. Thanks for your company. Bye-bye.